Good morning, everyone. Today we're checking out a brand new video from Popcross Studios of turning mythical creatures into Biunites. And before we actually hop into it, I want to give thanks to one of my commenters who was actually helping me for telling me where the whole name theme of the Biunites came from. Turns out the names are actually a sort of Hawaiian form, which makes sense considering that the island that the Bionites are meant to be found on is some kind of like Pacific island or area. So I want to give thanks for that, and now let's hop in.
In today's episode of my ongoing series, The Book of Biunites, which you can start from the beginning if you're new here, I'll link the full playlist in the cards and the description, but today I'm going to be turning mythical creatures into my own original creatures called Biunites, and working them into the ongoing story. I realized while recording the script for this episode that you can pick up most of the important stuff from context early on in this episode, but for a very brief recap of where we left off last time, our father-son narrator duo, Dai Inoue and Akaru Inoue, are telling the story to an unknown third party of the month leading up to the launch of their new business, the Biunite Safari and Education Center.
I know we're probably going to find out who that mysterious third party is in the final episode, but still, I wonder just who could it be.
During that time, Akaru and his best friend Augie were helping a guy named Biomech Kyle, who had been hiding out in the Safari sector, searching for the Elder Dragon Biunite Kahigona, the most powerful Biunite in existence, in the hope that Kyle could take a small fraction of that Biunite's power for his Biomech, so that the machine could sustain itself and stop drawing power from Kyle. The search for Kahigona continues in today's story, so let's get into it now, shall we?
Let's go! Hit like if you want, subscribe if you feel like it. By the way, enjoy the show! Okay, first mythical creature. What is it? What the hell is this thing? It's called a Snallygaster from Maryland?
Please tell me this story revolves around you and Agama getting partway up Mount Hakupo with Kyle, then realizing what a horrible idea it is to climb that mountain and scaling back down.
I was bonded with Hopalima, and Augie was bonded with Hodera the whole time. I know it's dangerous, but
bringing your Biunites arguably makes things worse. Did you take ropes and climbing equipment in the very least to ensure you were not hurled from the mountain by a brawling Biunite, or even a strong gust of wind?
We went up the least steep part.
That does not
that makes it better.
My question. For context for our listener here, Mount Hakupo is home to some of the most ferocious Biunites in all of Unitalia. As many Biunites enjoy fighting with one another, some of the more naturally lethal ones have made the upper half of Mount Hakupo their home, so that, when they do choose to come to blows with another Biunite, they are only ever facing ones that can handle their might. It was once a tradition among young Malayo warriors to earn their place among the tribe by trekking up the mountain with their Biunite partner, knowing this would prompt other Biunites to attack them. Their task was to reach the top, take a stone from the plateau at the peak, and return with it alive.
Yeah, that sounds dangerous, but hey, of course, that's perfectly fine. On a side note, what the hell is this creature meant to be? I know I read the name, a Snallygaster, but it looks like someone took a bird, a lizard, and fed it an octopus.
Returning alive was never guaranteed.
Yeah, but I can handle myself, and I was with Augie. He's literally the greatest fighter on the planet. In the Vigilance League, at least, I guess.
Exactly.
And I thought with Kyle and the Biomech being so strong, that'd help keep us safe too. Plus, even if he hadn't told us what his natural-born power was, we knew he had some kind of other ability, and if he really needed to, he would probably use it, we thought. And I mean, with the Biomech, Kyle has this ability to shoot his hand off with a cord attached to it, so we kind of had a rope in a way.
What Biunites attacked you on this journey?
How do you know anything did?
Because it is Mount Hakupo, and you not only brought your Biunites, which is enough to prompt a challenge from any creature on the mountain.
You literally only have to bring one, and then you got someone that's literally just doing the Scooby-Doo meme of, are you challenging me? I can't do a Matthew Little, I'm sorry.
But also because you brought a machine that is known to make Biunites more violent and erratic and want to attack you.
Well, to attack Kyle, but yeah, I guess kind of us too. The
good colors.
First one we came across was Snally-Kui, the tentacle mob Biunite.
You were attacked by Snally-Kui?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That is not the takeaway you should have from this incident, Akaru.
I think you're just jealous that I got to see Snolly Cooey up close.
That is absolutely not why I'm upset. You could have died.
Yeah, he's not upset as a Biunite, Bond person, whatever they're called, I forget it. He's upset because he's your father, and he wants you to be safe!
Yeah, okay, I guess. But, I mean, I did, even though, Snolly Cooey kind of came out of nowhere and grabbed me off the mountain with its tentacles, then flew me off over the forest. We were basically like 1,000 feet up.
I truly despise this story.
Yeah, I get it, sorry. But Hopalima had my arms shifted to stone, so I grabbed Snolly Cooey's wings and jerked him to the side to make him turn back towards the mountain. Then Kyle shot his biomech arm up, grabbed Snolly Cooey's leg, and started reeling us in. I was actually surprised how easily Kyle was pulling in a Biunite with that power level. The biomech had even more juice in it than I thought, I guess.
Oh, wow, I can feel the energy coming off of Big Bird here. Y'all sure I can't slurp up a little bit of this thing's power?
I kinda expected Kyle to say something, but he didn't. Almost seemed like he was hoping we would give him the green light to take some of Snolly Cooey's power.
What you guys
We didn't
say?
have much time to talk, though. As soon as Charlie got a grip on Snolly Cooey, the Biunite's eyes started going a bit red, and it turned its attention on Kyle.
Oh, crap.
He reeled us in a bit, but then the Biunite just started swooping right towards him, loosening its grip on me enough that when we got close, I jumped free and landed back on the mountain. Then its sights were just purely set on Kyle.
Of course. This thing looks like what happens if you take a dodo bird, make it a cyclops, and also part octopus for some reason.
Augie made himself an ice track and...
What the absolute hell is this thing? I mean, I love it, but what the hell is it? It's called a Bulgo from Juji Omaru folklore in Ethiopia. Huh. Okay, I mean, that's cool. I like the design. I just don't know what the fuck I'm looking at.
Slid right next to where I'd landed to make sure I was okay. When he saw that I was, he zipped past me over to Kyle. Kyle shot his own mechanical tentacles out of the biomech to deal with Snolly Cooey's tentacles, but the Biunite did still manage to swipe its claws across Kyle's arm and cut him.
Oh, God, that has
Making
some
it
hot.
really hard to not hurt you here, pal. Augie got close and said, "Let's just get him to scrap with somebody else." Augie pointed farther up the mountain. Kyle and I both looked up to see a big, burly Biunite was watching the fight and started lumbering over. It was Bulkalippi, the Axe-Head Biunite.
You had to deal with Snolly Cooey and Bulkalippi? That
Bulkalippi. Okay, so that's what this thing is.
brute is one of the biggest Biunites alive.
Yeah, and you can feel his size too. He's about 6 feet tall and probably 500 pounds. When he got close,
Damn.
he slammed his face into the ground and cracked the mountain to really get our attention.
Damn.
I was a decent way away, but I even still felt the ground under me shake. Kyle managed to wrangle all of Snolly Cooey's tentacles and threw the bird away from him. It pretty quickly started flying back.
I know this thing is highly dangerous and probably would not often have a partner, but if anyone was to partner with this thing... nope, I'm not fucking with that guy.
Towards Kyle, but Augie shot a track of ice under Bulkalippi's feet. Its feet are kinda stumpy, so its grip isn't great, so it fell right onto the track, as Augie sprayed more ice, making Bulkalippi slide down the mountain right into Snolly Cooey's path, as it was flying at Kyle. The Biunites slammed into each other, and Bulkalippi got really ticked off right away and pounded Snolly Cooey's beak with its fist.
Ooh.
The Tentacle Maw Biunite kept trying to come at Kyle for a bit longer, but Bulkalippi wasn't laying off. So
Come
finally,
on.
Snolly Cooey started fighting with it, and that was enough of a distraction for us to get away.
Kick some ass.
That could have ended much, much worse for you all.
Yeah, but, it didn't. Anyway, so we kept hiking and climbing, and I asked if Kyle needed to bandage up his cuts from Snolly Cooey, and he said,
Nah, it's not as bad as what those Averett guys did to me. Not even as bad as some of the scrapes Dad used to give me.
Oh.
I didn't know how to respond. I mean, other than telling us his dad was that insane serial killer, Jensen Malamore, he hadn't mentioned him too much. I wanted to try comforting him, but then he said,
Thankfully, I was always able to take most of the heat from Dad, so he'd usually let Vicky off easy.
When he mentioned Vicky, I looked at Augie pretty quick, but Augie just said, "And she still left you behind when everyone found out your dad was a killer? Well, then I'm just glad you got away from both her and your dad. You're better off without them." I didn't say
careful.
anything, but Kyle had told me that he...
I mean, I can understand the whole, glad he's away from his dad, who is a literal monster. But the sister, while she did a cowardice thing, I wouldn't say she's completely to blame for her actions as well. I mean, yes, she ran. That was very cowardice of her to leave her brother behind who defended her for most of her life. If Yes, it was cowardice, but that's it.
Hadn't told Augie anything about Vicky. It was fine that he did, but he made me feel like it was this special secret he'd only shared with me. I got really uneasy all of a sudden, but told myself that I was being selfish. I told myself that it was nice that he'd felt comfortable enough to talk about Vicky to Augie too. Weirdly, Kyle even gave me this look after he mentioned her. It was almost like he was waiting for me to say something, but I didn't. Anyway, we just kept climbing, headed for the top, and looking for any sign of Kahigona. I told them both, keep an eye out for a white crocodile-like serpent with 3 pairs of big, colorful wings.
Wait,
it's a Biunite called Kydranella. It said it lives up in the skies around
Kydranella. Huh, interesting name.
the top of the mountain, and she's kind of like a right hand to Kahigona and some of the old legends. They've been depicted together in lots of old Malayo art, so if we see her, maybe Kahigona will be close by. Seriously?
Yeah, they say it's
Is
a
she
mate?
as powerful as Kahigona? Kyle asked, sounding pretty eager. I knew he wanted to get a good charge up for Charlie fast, and figured he was thinking maybe we could get one from Kydranella. I felt bad letting him down when I said, she is really powerful, but Kahigona's power, at least in the legends, says he can destroy and possibly even create whole worlds. Kydranella is next level as far as the average Biunite goes, but not nearly that powerful. It said that after Kahigona made the Great Flood that he used to wipe out a bunch of the life on Earth and then create the first Biunites, he first made the Draconic Biunites. Then he pulled the bones of extinct creatures from the dirt and made the Dinosaur Biunites, starting with their king, MYTHICAL, who's still alive today.
Wow.
Some legends consider him to
MYTHICAL. Huh, okay.
be Kahigona's left hand, but he's less rare to see. I've seen him plenty of times, and he's going to be a big attraction in the safari. Anyway, those first 2 classes of Biunites would battle for entertainment and to test their resilience, but sometimes their brawls would go too far and threaten to cause great destruction. So to keep an eye on other Biunites and step in if they took things too far, Kahigona created the Angel Serpent Biunite, Kydranella, with a fraction of his power that didn't make her nearly as mighty as he is, but would be more than powerful enough to allow her to stop bickering Biunites that were taking their battles too far.
Okay, so Kahigona is indeed the first Biunite. Wonder where he came from then. They probably said that in a prior video and I just can't remember. But now we know, the first group he created was the Draconic Biunites, which would be the ones that we saw in the first episode, the Drake, the Wyvern, and the Dragon. Oh, no, wait, he was the dragon in that. But then the next group was the Dinosaur Biunites. I think we've seen a few of them, but I'm not 100. I'd have to check the wiki for that.
Charlie jumped in pretty quick after I said that.
Alrighty, but how much is a fraction?
Wait a minute, is this a full portal? Wow, it actually is. Yeah, because there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wow. Not often we get a full portal.
Like, is it a big fraction? Like, if I took a fraction of her fraction, I'd be in action as far as staying juiced up goes?
No, I said pretty quickly, but then tried to be more calm as I said. I mean, Kydranella is pretty elusive, so there isn't really a definitive read on her power level, but it's definitely not like Kahigona's. We can't risk trying to take any of her power, no matter what.
Right, well, it's your call, Biunite Whisperer. You're in charge around here. If I see her, maybe we can just find a way to get her to point us in the right direction of Kahigona.
Just say, hi, where's your father? Or husband? Or cradle? Cradle. Hi, where's your cradle? I like this guy. Okay, next up.
We got all the way.
Whoa! Okay, now we got something. This is actually a creature I do know. Well, it's called the Onklet? Anklet? I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry for butchering it. But this thing is what happens when you take an orca and fuse it with some kind of like grizzly bear or wolf. All I can say is I like this one, and if I had a chance to take a powerful Biunite as my partner, I'd be going with this fella.
To the top of the mountain where there's this big flat area. It was crazy seeing the view from up there. There was a ring of clouds just above us like a halo, and I could see the entire safari sector and even out beyond to the city. It was really pretty, but I didn't get long to enjoy the look. We all heard this snarling sound, then across the mountaintop we saw Akohalio, the whale wolf Biunite. Augie and I
Love
both
it.
readied up for a fight, but Kyle was just looking up into the clouds. I asked, Kyle, you good? It's like there was hunger in his eyes as he said, "There's something up there. Something really powerful. The biomech can sense it." Augie said, "Well, if it's Kahigona, that's awesome, but we've still got to deal with this first." I was
Yeah, you gotta deal
genuinely
with
kind
this
of
fella.
scared at that point, because Akahalio is known to be absolutely vicious. If she got triggered by the biomech enough to go full lethal right away, we could really be in trouble. I mean, of all the ways to die, getting killed by a Biunite like Akahalio would be pretty...
Akaru?
What?
Your body wouldn't be found, your dad would worry, and your sister would also worry, but in her own way.
I'm not saying that I would be cool with dying, which I obviously did and I survived, but, it would just kind of be a cool way to go out, if anything. Anyway, Akahalio shot a plume of water out of her blowhole, then controlled it to make it swirl through the air, splitting and coming at both Augie and me in two separate beams. Thankfully, Augie shifted Hodera in his hand and shot Frigid Mist to freeze both streams in midair. By the time he did,
Nice.
Akahalio was already charging at us. Augie pressed his hand to the ground and made an ice wall spring up into her path, but she had already leapt to the side before the wall was half up. Augie tried making a few more walls, but she evaded all the others just as easily. She was really fast for a pretty big Biunite. Akahalio leapt at Augie first, but I sprang right into her side and punched her with Hopalima.
There you
I barely
go.
hit her hard enough to knock her off track from getting Augie, but as soon as she landed, Augie shot ice at her feet to try and pin her down. He froze Akahalio in place, but she was strong enough to tear free pretty instantly and start charging around the perimeter of the mountaintop, deciding
Come on.
her next move. I didn't even bother trying to calm her down. It didn't seem like she was riled up because of the biomech. She seemed like she kind of just wanted to fight. I looked back at Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, hey, there's two people up here, two Bionites. Haha, clung, clung, let's fight.
Who wasn't even paying attention to Akahalio. He just had Charlie pointed into the air, shaped into some kind of radar disc thing. The biomech was even kind of wriggling and writhing, and he was holding on to her like Charlie wanted to leap off of Kyle and fly up into the sky or something, aggressively drawn to whatever power it was sensing. Augie yelled, "Hey Kyle, incoming!" Kyle glanced back to see Akahalio had started running at him. He quickly shifted
Crap.
the biomech back into a big fist, whipped around, and smashed Charlie into the side of Akahalio's head. The Biunite was nearly hurled off the mountain, just barely digging her claws into the edge to keep herself from falling.
Ooh,
A look
good
of
catch.
anger and irritation on his face instantly shifted to concern. "Whoa, sorry, I didn't mean to hit that hard." Kyle had sounded regretful, but went right back to scanning the air. "There," he said.
Okay, there is something about this Kyle guy, and I know people have probably been saying that for weeks, but I'm only now seeing it for
Shot some
myself.
kind of concussive shockwave up into the clouds above, and they cleared, to reveal a flying serpent with red, purple, and yellow wings. It was Kydranella. There was
Hydranella.
no other Biunite with her. It was really cool to see Kydranella in person, but I felt bad that it wasn't who Kyle really needed. Augie had leapt at Akahalio and caught her by the snout, freezing her mouth shut, grappling with her, but surprisingly getting pushed back across the ground. Sorry, Kyle, but don't worry. We will find Kahigona. Maybe today, maybe not today, but eventually for sure.
Ugh,
I was
damn
going to
it.
second what Augie said, but then noticed Kyle's biomech shifting back into a hand, and his fingers were twitching while he was staring at Kydranella. I
Oh,
can
no.
feel it. She is insanely powerful.
Oh no.
I got this feeling in my gut like I should jump at him and tackle him. It felt terrible, but made sense a few seconds later. Without another word,
This is
he
your
flew
gut?
his biomech arm up and fired a cable hand at Kydranella. Weirdly, when I looked up at the creature, she seemed like she was coming down towards the hand, like she was already getting pulled closer even before the hand reached her. I yelled,
Oh, what's going on?
"Kyle, don't! She's not Kahigona! Charlie could kill her!" He didn't reply. His hand snatched Kydranella's neck, and little tentacles popped out of Charlie's knuckle and stabbed into the Biunite.
Oh, no.
She shrieked, then swooped up, yanking Kyle off the mountain. Before I could react, Augie yelled, "Akaru, watch out for Akahalio. She's just over the edge and probably plotting her next attack." He slid past me
This
on
isn't
an
gonna
ice
be
track
good.
right under Kyle. Kyle was in midair, but yanked down, and Kydranella stopped descending, jerking down towards him. The Biunite was shrieking in terrible pain, and there were red veins starting to spread across her. There wasn't a single bit of remorse on Kyle's face. I knew he was getting anxious about finding power for Charlie, but I hadn't thought he'd gotten that desperate. Augie made a ramp and fired up towards Kyle. "Let go, Kyle, or I'm gonna have to make you!" Kyle didn't reply. He just tried reeling his hand in more, pulling himself closer and the Biunite closer to him. Augie got close enough to Kyle that he could grab onto him, but was obviously hesitant. He waited just until he was about to start falling back down, and finally snatched Kyle's ankle with his Hodera-shifted claw.
Oh,
Kyle tried
boy.
to kick Augie away, but that just made Augie grip harder, and his claws dug into Kyle's leg. Kyle's head jerked down, and he stared at Augie with fury in his eyes. Thankfully, he got distracted enough by Augie that Kydranella managed to chomp into the Biomech hand and swiftly tear it off her. She flew higher away into the sky and disappeared as Augie and Kyle fell towards the top of the mountain again. Augie let go of Kyle and shot a ramp of ice below them both. Augie landed on it and slid gracefully to a stop a short way from me. Well, Kyle hit it and rolled down it, then across the ground. I just stared at him, then looked over at Augie, unsure of what to do. Augie yelled, "Not cool, Kyle. Akru told you Kydranella wasn't okay to take power from. He's in charge, remember?" Kyle didn't say anything right away.
Yeah,
he
something
sat
isn't
up
right.
and looked at his lower leg, pulling up his pant leg to show that there was fresh blood dripping down it from where Augie had gripped him. His face flashed between a bunch of different emotions: fear, regret, anxiety, and all of them looked completely real. Until he finally just sighed and gritted his teeth. "You nipped my ankle." Augie replied,
Crap.
"I didn't want to. It was an accident, but you weren't listening. You could have killed Kydranella. She was
This isn't
obviously
good.
in pain. What happened to not hurting Biunites?" Again, he didn't reply to the question. As he stood up, his pose, his expression, it changed, and it was like watching someone transform into a different person right in front of my face. "You know, our family dog nipped my ankle once. Well, it was mostly Victoria's dog, but I played around with him now and then. Dumb animal, but useful, would scare off
Yep, should have known. The kid is just like his father.
vermin. Is kind of cute and entertaining. Sort of like you two."
"Hey, watch it!" Augie yelled, but I didn't say anything. I was just frozen with this feeling in my gut, like my whole body was saying, "I tried to warn you." Kyle went on.
Yep, should
We
listen
called
to your
him
gut.
Rexy. Had him for about 5 years. I used to play fetch with him, but when I got bored, I'd just pretend to throw the stick, and dumb little Rexy would go running after it, looking in all the wrong places. It's really easy to get a dumb little doggy looking the wrong way. Then one day, we were just having some fun, when out of nowhere, he takes a little chomp out of my ankle. Like you just did. It
Oh, boy.
hurt, but I'm not a monster, so I just gave him a warning shot to remind him of his place in the food chain of our house. Of course, Vicky didn't like that, so she tried to keep Rexy away from me, but he came back to play again eventually. I gave him a second chance, and wouldn't you know it, he ended up biting me again. The last lesson that Rex ever learned is that I don't give second warnings. Maybe that's the real reason Victoria scampered away from our home with her own tail between her legs. But the point is, take this as your one and only warning, Agama. You get in the way of me getting the power I want again, and I won't give you a second one, little doggy.
Crap.
I don't think Augie was even fully processing what was going on, but he knew he was pissed at Kyle. "Yeah, you're insane!" he yelled. Then Augie charged and jumped at Kyle. But Kyle held out his hand. Not his biomech hand, his normal hand.
Why would you
And
do that,
just
Augie?
started to slow down in midair. Then he stopped. These red orbs were bubbling off of Kyle's hand as we finally saw what his own natural-born power was.
Oh, crap. And they said red orbs as well. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This cannot be good.
With Augie still held in midair,
And now it's time in full. Damn it, I forget the name. But this one is called on the Chakrida from the second book of Enoch. Huh.
Polio came running in again and
kinda
charged
cool.
at Kyle. He just flicked his head in her direction. More red orbs sprung from his head, and the Biunite was hurled into the air and flew off the mountain. This was not a power from the biomech. Kyle is a telepath. It's already a super rare power to be born.
Do you mean telekinetic? Telepath means he can read minds. Telekinetic means he can move shit with his mind. People often get them mixed up because of the tele part of them. But yeah, Telepath means you can read minds. Telekinetic means you can move stuff with your mind.
With, and his telepathy is obviously next level, beyond anything
Not
I'd ever
telepathy.
even heard of. If he tried to get into the Vigilance League, I bet they wouldn't even let him in, he's so powerful. Then Kyle just flicked his fingers like it was nothing, and Augie was hurled back, spinning through the air. He would have flown off the mountaintop too if he hadn't shot a wall of ice up for himself to crash into. I stepped closer to Kyle, clinging to any possibility that he wasn't the monster he was making himself sound like he was. Kyle, this can't be you. This has to be Charlie. Just get rid of her. She's making you crazy. He rolled his eyes and looked up at the sky with an annoyed sigh, then turned back to me. Do you know how tedious it can be to know that everyone around you is nothing more than a dumb little doggy like Rex? It's kind of lonely being the only smart person on this stupid rock we live on. How many clues would I have had to give you for you to figure it out, Akaru? I basically told you what I was doing, and you still didn't get there. I wasn't even pretending to toss the stick anymore. I was just waving it in front of your face. He started moving the fingers of his biomech hand like a sock puppet.
I'm Charlie. I'm sarcastic and rude and mean to Biunites, so you don't know if you can trust me. But Kyle is so nice and complimentary in comparison.
Oh my god, the biomech was never talking.
You know you can trust him. There is no Charlie, you dolt. There's just a machine built to seek power, so it found me. Someone who has power and who also wants more of it. And I thought I'd found a couple of cute, dumb little hunting doggies that could help me find what I was looking for. But I guess that ship has sailed now, huh? He threw his hand to the side and stopped Augie in mid-run, who was charging back at Kyle again. You know, you're lucky that you're famous enough that killing you would draw too much attention to me, Agama. But here's what we're gonna do. You're both gonna go back to your lives and pretend you never found me here. I'm going to stick to my word and keep looking for Kahigona. I find him, I get my power, and I'll be out of your little petting zoo for good. Might even leave the country. Victoria's shacked up in a little town in Ireland. Thinks I don't know where she is.
Crap!
Might go pay her a visit. But if either of you tell anyone where
Okay, I hate to be the one to say it. We gotta kill this fool.
I am or what I'm doing, trust me, I will know about it. I've heard a
gotta kill
lot
him.
more from you two than you probably think. And if I get even a whiff that anyone is coming for me, I won't come for you two. I'll kill Dai. I'll kill Junko. I'll kill Noah. Then whatever of those tree-hugging Malayo are on site working that day. I will burn this safari to the ground, then finally pluck the limbs off of your Biunite partners and leave both of you standing so you can live to regret what you made me do to all the other little doggies in your litter.
Oh my god.
Now, bark for me to show that you understand. Augie yelled, "You're a maniac! You're worse than your dad!"
Oh, yep.
Augie started choking and his face was going purple. I was furious and terrified, but I just did what he said. I barked.
Oh no.
Then he said, "A little louder, doggy. I couldn't quite hear you." And so I did it again. It was pretty humiliating, but worse than that, I just didn't even know if he was gonna do what he said, if he was gonna let Augie and me go.
Oh,
he kept choking
damn it.
Augie long enough after I barked the second time that I thought he was just gonna kill us. But finally, I heard Augie suck in air, coughing as he was finally dropped to the ground. Kyle just started walking away, looking into the air again, but Kydronella was long gone.
Kydronella, that's the name.
What a waste.
Right.
Back to the hunting grounds, I guess. He just leapt off the mountain and disappeared. I ran over to Augie, who was just, like, frozen in confusion and terror. Knowing him, I was honestly kind of expecting him to just snap out of it in the next day or so and try to tell someone about Kyle before the big safari opening. But I think he was just as scared as I was that
Yeah, no
Kyle
shit!
really could hurt our
Sorry,
families.
But yeah.
Plus, I think it was a lot harder for Augie to process that everything Kyle had said was just a flat-out lie. Well, not everything.
There we go, finally. It's Trenton Fuego.
Oh, Officer Fuego, how much of that did you hear?
Oh, he's not the third party.
All of it.
sorry to eavesdrop, but I needed to make sure I was getting the full unfiltered story. And, admittedly, I kind of wanted to get a better sense of our guest in the bed here.
Yeah, I get that. I'm sure this is really weird for you and Carter and everyone, really. It's pretty weird for me too, Trayton, sorry. I know you and I haven't really met yet, but I have access to all of Chanel's memories while I'm in her body. And I guess I have some of her instincts too.
Oh, okay. So the third body is Chanel, but it's only her body. Someone is temporarily in it.
My name's Sterling. Sterling and...
Oh my god, it's him! What the fuck? So something happened. He's in Chanel's body. Oh my god, this is crazy as all hell. People are gonna be freaking the fuck out. Cause I am.
Geo, but I swear I will get out of your sister's body as soon as I figure out how.
Sterling. Okay, well, I appreciate you saying that. It is still weird hearing her voice with someone else behind it, though. Trayton, how is Freya doing? She's awake, but shaken. Probably about as much as Akaru and Augie were after that interaction with Rory.
Rory? Is that Kyle's real name? You know who he is?
Yes. I mean, it's not his full name, but it's what he usually goes by, though he has taken on different identities before. And if we'd known it was him who stole the biomech, there is no way we at the Protection Bureau would have kept quiet about it. We would have had everyone out looking for him.
Oh,
we
yeah.
honestly thought there was a good chance it had been taken by Averett, too.
Wasn't it? I mean, originally, before Kyle took it from them? What about those Averett guys that came to the safari and that attacked Kyle?
Those weren't Averett employees. They were covert Protection Bureau officers.
Oh,
ones
crap.
who'd been charged with moving the biomech to a high-security storage site. The mech had been long dormant, so we thought 2 officers would be plenty for moving it safely.
Turns out,
But while they were
wasn't enough.
transporting it, both of the officers' Biunites started acting really strange. And then the biomech just burst free and ran off, like it was after something. They tried chasing it down, but only managed to see it bond with someone from a distance, then that figure used it to get away. It probably is true that the mech was seeking a significant power source, and if
Yeah.
that thing is anything like a Biunite, since it was made by Bobby Blunt from Biunites, there's also a chance it was looking for someone like Blunt, the first person it was bonded with. And
Oh my god, it pulled a Venom. If you actually don't know, in the proper Venom lore, not from the movies, but like in the comic books, it turns out that Venom was actually first bonded with Deadpool, who was a hero, which unfortunately left it with a small defect causing the whole personality shift. Which is why when it eventually bonded with Peter Parker and became the black-suited Spider-Man, that's why it, was trying to be heroic, but was also a little demented. Oh, I'm not kidding you. Google that.
Story is about as close as you can get.
No way. But wait, is he even Jensen Malamore's kid?
No. His parents were no picnic, but they were more neglectful than anything. He does have a sister named Victoria, who has fled to Ireland because she was afraid of her brother. The first time he went to a juvenile detention center, it was because of what he did to her dog Rex. Rory was in and out of juvie for all his teen years. He was given state-mandated therapists while he was in there, and twice the people assigned to him were convinced that he'd changed and was going back out into the world as a better person.
Oh, crap.
Really, he was just a master of deception. He always knew how to blend elements of the truth into his lies to make them more convincing. He was very charming and kind and always knew how to compliment people in a way that would make them warm up to him easily.
That
He
makes
always had
sense.
the right thing to say to get in or out of whatever situation he wanted. And once he was old enough to be tried as an adult, he got better at evading arrest. We don't have definitive proof of a lot of his crimes, but he's suspected of assault, manslaughter, drug trafficking, theft, and now confirmed for murder, because we found the bodies of our 2 officers who were tracking him down,
Oh,
and the
no.
bodies of their Biunites in one of the caves on Mount Hakupo.
Damn.
What? So that video he showed us of him fighting with them...
It was fake, presumably made using the technology in the biomech. There may have been some elements of his actual fight worked into it, But them getting away definitely isn't how that fight actually ended.
Nope.
Neither of those
Slaughtered.
officers ever did use bond bands either. They were genuinely advocates for natural bonds with Biunites.
Damn it.
We also now suspect that the calls we'd gotten over the last few days from our officers were actually Rory using the biomech to recreate their voices. They had been acting a bit strange by not checking in person, so really someone should have been flagged that something was up. But that's just what he does. Rory played us. He played you guys, and honestly, I'm just
God, dude is a master at chess.
grateful that nothing worse happened, but after what did go down at the Safari launch, you are still right about the fact that we need to find him. Because forget about the biomech. Him having that was bad enough, but trust me, the last person on Earth that you want to have the power of the Elder Dragon Biunite is Rorik Eldrin.
Oh, crap. Rorik Eldrin. Why does that sound familiar? Wait, Rorik Eldrin? Eldrorok? No. There's something there. There's a whole lot there, but I can't see it all. There's too much. I need my crew. I need you, the community. You need to talk to me. Tell me what's going on.
Kyle just held out his
Loopers.
hand, not his biomech. Smile. This is not a smiling moment in the story.
No, you can't smile. Just
Come on!
come on.
Now, bark for me to show that you understand.
I kind of like these blue balls. Sound almost like Rodney Dangerfield now.
Ugh. The last person in the world that you want to have the power of the Elder Dragon Biunite is Rorik Eldrin.
Whoa! Oh, I didn't spoil it. I got there without spoiling it.
That was a lot. That was a lot. I'd have to go clip by clip.
Woo! I've been waiting like a year to reveal that. We're only about halfway through.
Rorik Eldrok. He has to be like a mortal form of Eldrorok, considering the names. There has to be something there. I know I'm probably digging, but there has to be something.
The reveals of this series. Got about 2 episodes left, I think, and I'm curious to see if people will figure out what's coming next from the clues that have been given so far. Gonna be a fun comment section today, but I'm not gonna reveal anything. I'll just give some cheeky nods and winks to people that are making guesses. In fact, let's very briefly cut back to some bloopers from previous weeks that I couldn't put in for obvious reasons.
Yeah, okay.
I've had enough people giving up on me. Lying piece of shit, Eldrorok.
Okay, wait, so am I right then? That Rory is indeed... Okay, I guess this is confirmation. Yeah, Rory is indeed the mortal, physical, humanoid body of Eldrorok. That's why the Biunite win for him. Because he's so powerful. The red orbs. It literally is just Eldrorok. It's the first Archon. Holy shit!
I love you guys. It means so much that you're still willing to back me up, even with me and Charlie causing all these problems. Oh, Eldrorok, you lying
So this has been a very satisfying episode to finally record.
Oh,
And it
holy
actually
fucking
kind of plays
shit.
into the positive or inspiring note at the end of this video that's a little bit more of a cautionary tale. Kyle's character in this was inspired by something that happened with me in March of last year, which might be too personal for me to share. But the point is, everything's fine now, so it doesn't really matter. But the
Oh, well, that's
message
good.
is that your subconscious mind processes millions of bits of information every second, whereas your conscious mind only processes somewhere between like 11 to 60 bits of information per second.
Oh, I was
so
gonna
when
say,
you get
okay.
serious gut feelings
I know
that
it's gonna be high.
something is wrong, or that a person before you is threatening in some way that logically you don't have any sign that that's the case, sometimes
There's
it is
something
just
there.
good to listen to your gut, because that's your subconscious mind picking up on threats that you're not consciously noticing. So sometimes even
That actually is something I have noticed. If I ever get a gut feeling that something is wrong, I can only tell something is wrong, and depending on the like intensity of the pain, can tell me like how much of it is. Like if it's just a mild stomach ache, I think it's like something bad's gonna happen. But it's small. Like I don't know, someone trips or something. But if I get something that would almost crippleize me and put me into pain or stuck to the toilet trying to empty myself when there's nothing to empty, that's something bad. Very bad.
if it doesn't make logical sense, you get a gut feeling, it's a good idea to just listen to it and get out of that situation and unpack the reasons for it later. So I hope
I
that's
know
a
that
helpful
feeling.
reminder for someone out there in the future. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video on Monday.
Alright everyone, that is going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of you next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.